At the beginning of this part, a scene of a place is shown. It shows someone's feet running forward at great speed. This is a child who was extremely frightened, and his body was covered with numerous injuries. As he kept running forward, his foot suddenly hit something, causing him to fall to the ground. His trembling hands are shown, and blood starts oozing from his body. In his mind, he says, "My wounds are really bad, and if I don't get out of here soon to treat them, the cold will make them rot. But before anything else happens, I must go and report at the palace." As he says this and looks ahead after getting up, he is greatly shocked to see something in front of him. Inside the cave, that man was there. The entire cave starts collapsing. That person looks behind and says, "No one should tell me that the thing chasing me is breaking through this thick ice wall and coming after me." At that moment, the ice next to where he was sitting begins to crack. Before the boy could do anything, the ice shatters, sending him flying backward, where he crashes into a wall. His eyes remain wide open in shock. As he looks ahead, a creature is shown, a beast with massive teeth. The moment the beast appears, it looks exactly like Xian's heavenly dragon. Looking at that dragon, the boy becomes even more terrified, because that beast was approaching with its mouth wide open, ready to devour him. But before the beast could consume him, the boy's eyes suddenly open, and he wakes up in terror. He is trembling, breathing heavily, and says in his mind, "Was this a dream? Did I have the same dream again?" Just then, he hears a voice from the side. "Did you see the same dream again?" It seems like these memories have deeply embedded themselves in your mind. And it is completely true that you are the only person who survived that monster. The boy listens carefully to this person's words. The person continues, "Although I haven't been here for very long, Zhao Yuan, this place is really hot. I don't understand how people survive in such an environment. We've been walking continuously for 3 days, so why don't you take a little more rest?" But the boy responds, "No, uncle. We don't know when that monster might break through those stone walls." But the uncle says, "It took us more than 2 weeks to reach here, yet you haven't closed your eyes even once. Soon we will part ways. I will go to the Orthodox Murim Alliance, but do you really want to go to Kaifeng?" The child nods in agreement, but the man speaks again. "You are just as stubborn as your father. Do you truly believe that they will help you? Cheo Yuan's Jianwu only appreciates teamwork within the Orthodox Murim Alliance." But the boy replies, "Rather than doing nothing, I should at least give it a try." The uncle says, "Demonic martial artists, do you really think they will help you? You probably don't even know how evil they truly are." The child clutches his chest and thinks, "The thing I have, I cannot show it even to this uncle because I don't trust him either. Since it is with me, it can help me." After this, a man is shown giving a token to the boy and saying, "You must make sure to take this token to those people." Looking at the token, the child becomes completely filled with confidence and thinks, if this man is truly the owner of this token, then, after this, the scene changes, and we are shown a branch of the demonic cult inside Kaifeng. This place is Blue Wind Inn, where 2 men are seen talking to each other. One of them says, "There is an inn here, so why don't we go there, have breakfast, and drink something as well?" "Oh," the second man responds, "it looks quite good, so let's go." As they move forward, their attention suddenly shifts to something. A man is shown with some kind of symbol on his waist. This man is Hu Bong, and in front of him, 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 is sitting. The moment they see these two, they become quite nervous and immediately walk in another direction, saying, "It looks like there's no empty seat here. Let's find another inn." Next, the owner of the inn is shown, who is thinking in his mind, "What nonsense is this? The entire inn is empty, yet they still didn't stay here." Hu Bong, looking at those people, says, "Why are they avoiding eating here after coming all the way inside? What is it that makes them so cautious around us?" The restaurant owner seems quite irritated and thinks to himself, "Do you guys really not understand? Why don't you just go to the second floor and eat there?" 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 replies, "I think these people will take some time, but don't you think things are already much better than before? Compared to when we first arrived here, the situation has improved quite a lot." Hu-bong says, yes, but even after seeing all this, it still feels like we have a long journey ahead of us. 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 says, you are truly quite ambitious about everything, but how is it even possible to completely change people's attitudes? After all, if 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 spent such a long time here, how can things change so quickly? And that, too, in just a single month. Hu-bong says, due to Demon Lord's fame, many people have already joined the demonic cult. Isn't this progress enough? We shouldn't worry too much about it. 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 says, this progress is indeed remarkable. It simply means that many people are willing to work under the Demon Lord, who is one of the 5 great martial artists, and also the youngest among them. Hu-bong says, actually, that's the part I dislike the most. I believe that among all the martial artists, the Demon Lord should be considered the greatest. Even the 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁's head cannot stand against him. The Demon Lord is the only person who was fighting against 3 mystic realm martial artists at the same time. 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 says, yes, you are absolutely right. 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 speaks up, perhaps the reason behind this is that ancient monster from the east. Both Hu-bong and 𝗰𝗪𝗪 seem confused after hearing this. 𝗰𝗪𝗪 asks, are you talking about the battle god of the east? 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 explains, battle god, the martial artist from the east who reached the top using nothing but his 2 fists. He was the only person who was given the title of god even before Cheo-yon. Hu-bong says, oh my god, all these things are just rumors. The Demon Lord cannot be compared to him at all. The Demon Lord has already proven his strength in front of thousands of people. 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 becomes serious and says, Hu-bong, listen to me carefully. How can you simply dismiss what Lady Sangwa just said? Wow. As soon as Hu-bong hears this, he says, you two keep supporting each other's words just to make it clear that you both are dating. Hu-bong continues, well, good for you. I'm single. The delicate chair you both are sitting on is going to break soon. Hu-bong is saying this when suddenly a man is shown watching them. Sang-hwa, looking at Wang-her, says in a low voice, I have told you before not to call me like this in front of others. He doesn't even realize how much trouble I am going through. At that moment, all of them notice something. A man dressed in black robes is shown standing right in front of them. Seeing him, they all start thinking in their minds, judging by the way he is walking. It looks like he is a martial artist. Who could he possibly be? As soon as that person sees the 4 of them, he says, so I have finally found them. He immediately drops to his knees. Seeing this, none of them can understand what exactly this person is doing. Then the boy lowers his pouch. Watching this, Hu-bong says, why did he suddenly kneel down like that? However, that very boy speaks up and says, please let me meet the cult leader. What? Hearing such words from that child, none of them can understand anything and start discussing among themselves, wondering who this person could be. Looking at his clothes, he appears to be a beggar. Hu-bong then says to the boy, do you want to join our cult? If that's the case, you can go to any of our nearby branches and join from there. So, the boy replies, I apologize again, but that is not the case. I have come here to meet the cult leader. I want to ask for his help. Hearing this, Hu-bong says, do you seriously think that just because you say so, we will take you to the Demon Lord? You suddenly show up here and demand to meet the cult leader? As soon as the boy hears this, he immediately puts his hand inside his pocket and starts taking something out. It turns out to be a wooden token. The boy takes out the token and presents it in front of Hu-bong. Wang-her's eyes land on the token, and he is completely shocked upon seeing it. Wodo, Hu-bong also looks in that direction and says, what exactly is this thing in your hands? But as soon as his gaze falls on the token, he too is completely shocked. 𝗵𝗪𝗽𝗁. The scene then changes to show the heavenly demon divine cult's Kai Fong branch. Here, we see a training hall where 2 people are engaged in a fight. Everyone watching their fight has their eyes wide open in astonishment. One of them is Baek-gi, and the other standing before him is Chae-tak-gyom. Baek-gi is shown launching an immediate attack on Tak-gyom, but Tak-gyom swiftly ducks, dodging Baek-gi's strike. Then, Just as 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 counterattacks 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 quickly steps back, dodging his attack as well. The cult members watching the fight murmur among themselves. Their martial arts are truly extraordinary. Every move connects seamlessly with the next and the previous one. 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 looks at 𝗰𝗽𝗽 and thinks, 𝗰𝗽𝗽, you have become significantly faster than before. On the other hand, 𗰰𝗽𝗽 immediately attacks 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁, forcing 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 to retreat. However, 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 blocks 𝗰𝗽𝗽's strike with his hands and says, your kicks have really become much stronger than before. 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 then prepares to fight again and says to 𗰰𝗽𝗽, this time, prepare yourself completely. 𗰰𝗽𝗽 responds, so does that mean you haven't been using your full strength until now? Just then, as 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 looks ahead, he is startled to see that 𗰰𝗽𝗽 has already started attacking him directly. The spectators watching the fight exclaim, what kind of footwork is this? It doesn't look too aggressive, but his movements are incredibly effective. 𝗰𝗽𝗽 is shown attacking 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 with a kick, but 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 catches his kick. Seeing this, 𝗰𝗽𝗽 is also shocked. In the next moment, 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 locks 𝗰𝗽𝗽's leg completely and immediately slams him onto the ground. The onlookers are even more astonished and say, is it really possible to counterattack a kick in this way? That's indeed. 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁, exerting his full strength, says to 𝗰𝗽𝗽, why don't you just surrender? If you keep forcing yourself like this, you might end up crippled. On the other hand, 𝗰𝗽𝗽, who is also in immense pain, mutters, if this continues, my knee will definitely shatter soon. At that moment, 𝗰𝗽𝗽 twists his entire body, causing 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁, who had grabbed his leg, to also turn in the opposite direction. Then, as 𝗰𝗽𝗽 rotates his legs with even more force, his leg slips out of 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁's grip. However, 𝗰𝗽𝗽 immediately leaps away to another side. Witnessing this, the spectators are even more amazed and exclaim, did he really manage to escape from his grasp? What kind of technique was that? 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 then says to 𝗰𝗽𝗽, I truly didn't expect you to slip away from my hold like that. When and where did you learn this technique? After this, Namgung Huang is shown observing their fight. He turns to Nano and asks, what do you think about this? Upon hearing this, Nano begins to explain. In the case of energy deviation, the capoeira windmill was the right decision. If he had used this windmill technique even better, the opponent could have taken twice the damage. After this, the narrator starts explaining that Nano had taught Chun future martial arts like boxing, taekwondo, and jiu-jitsu. Chun combined his internal energy with these martial arts and created his own martial art. He easily broke through the techniques of traditional martial arts. If someone fully mastered all these techniques, they could easily counter this martial art. That was the reason Chun thought of learning future martial arts, so that he could completely confuse his opponent and defeat them on the spot. Namgung Huang, watching both of them, says to himself, at first, I thought they wouldn't be able to learn it, but I was worrying unnecessarily. There might be some differences between humans, but these two have completely mastered it. Tori. 𝗰𝗰𝗽𝗁 has mastered boxing and jiu-jitsu because he always uses his hands in fights, while 𝗰𝗽𝗽 has mastered taekwondo and capoeira techniques, which is why he fights more with his kicks. Nano begins to explain, I trained both of them in new martial arts alongside Jinshin, but they completely grasped it within just a few months. Why, the one who trained them in new martial arts alongside Jinshin was none other than the Guardian Pavilion Master, Jin Chang. After this, their fight is shown, which comes to a complete end. Just then, someone climbing the stairs says, Martial artists of the Guardian Pavilion, did you all pay close attention to this? This is the new martial arts technique invented by the Demon Lord. The one saying this is Jin Chang, who steps forward and declares, from now on, this martial art will become the basic martial art of our cult, and it will be called United Combat Art. Hearing this, all the people start discussing among themselves, United Combat Art. Does this mean the Demon Lord is following in the footsteps of the Master? Listening to their conversations, Jin Chang says, Well, it was Nano who created all these arts. From now on, I will be the instructor who will teach everyone this martial art. You all must learn it completely, so that none of you embarrass yourselves in front of the Demon Lord. All the people respond loudly, yes. Hearing their words, someone else says, so, it's finally beginning. We've already started the process of making miracle medicine from Kieran's blood, 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁. All the analyses that Jin Chung had done, I have already handed them over, which has sped up the process even more. Very soon, this cult will become as powerful as I want it to be. After this, the girls who were watching this match are shown. Among them was Man, who had puffed up her cheeks. Why was Man doing this? I'm sorry. In reality, Yogan looked truly beautiful here. Watching her, Man thought to herself, she came here with the first guardian, and now it's been 15 days. The left guardian has already returned to the cult, but she is still here, just so she can stay near the Demon Lord. Fine then, I guess I need to be a little braver. After this, Man says to Yogan, I heard you're not feeling completely well, so why don't you go and rest? Hearing this, Yogan laughs and says, no, it's fine. Watching the Demon Lord like this and getting fresh air feels nice. Man hesitates a little and says, if you're tired, you can go and rest. You don't need to worry too much about me. Listening to her, Yogan thinks to herself, I wanted to be brave, but I'm really not that courageous. Then, looking at Man, Yogan says in her mind, Demon Lord, please forgive me, but I cannot let go of this opportunity to meet you so easily. Sia, Man too thinks to herself, I'll tolerate you as long as things between the Demon Lord and me remain fine. Just then, suddenly, something moves swiftly from both Yogan and Man's sides. It is 𝗰𝗼𝗽 who quickly arrives at the scene and rushes straight toward Jin Chung. Man, seeing him, exclaims in surprise, that's 𝗰𝗼𝗽. He looks like he's in a great hurry. Onward. After this, 𝗰𝗼𝗽 reaches Yon straight away and starts telling him something. Upon hearing about the young boy, Yon immediately stands up from his seat. Seeing this, Jin Chung is startled and says, what? He stood up all of a sudden. This seems a bit too hasty. Yogan is also watching all of this, but she doesn't understand what exactly is happening here. After this, Jin Chung is shown asking 𝗰𝗼𝗽, what exactly do you mean? You said that someone has brought that token? Hearing this, Yon is also shocked. That token was not an ordinary object. It was the token of Jin Chung's grandfather, the supreme heavenly demon, Jin Eng. What will happen next? To find out, see you in the next part.